Well, hello and welcome to Music City Mix. I'm Chris Wilhite, and this is Donnie Noland. We are going to be your hosts on this journey through all things Middle Tennessee, from real estate to renovations to politics to sports. That if it happens in the Middle Tennessee area, we're going to talk about it. All, of course, while enjoying a nice glass of bourbon. So pull up a chair, crack open your own bottle, and let's get this thing started. Donnie, what are we drinking today, sir?
Well, me and you did this last time, and we talked about doing this again, and we're both drinking Eagle Rare right now. I got a bottle that I just cracked. I know that we cracked that one the last time we were at your place. Eagle Rare, Buffalo Trace Distillery. It's an allocated bourbon, super hard to find, but I happen to have a good connection, have a bunch of them. I got to say, buddy, cheers to you. Let's have a drink.
My friend.
That shit is smooth.
That's not a one sipper.
Well, I've already had a few. It's been a day for me, so I've had a few.
I tell you what, one of my favorite things about Eagle Rare is the fact that, yes, it's an allocated, but it's one of the least expensive allocateds that you can find. You know, the place that I go out in Donaldson, I can find it, well, depending on who's there, sometimes it's 79, sometimes it's 59. I mean, you probably get I was going to say, the places that you've got down there by your house, I'm a little jealous, honestly. But
man, I got 3 places that I get it, and the highest is 45. But I'll tell you what, the first time I walked into one, they had 7 bottles up, and it was $39.99, and I just scooped them all. The next time I came back, they said limit 2. And then the third time I came back, limit 1. So they got wise to my act, that's for sure.
Now, do you still have that guy down there that calls you and says, "I've got this"?
Yes, sir, I do. He's local guy down here in Manchester. Bill's Liquor. Shout out to Bill's Liquor. Him and his brother own the place. They got it from their dad. And
Bill, can you please open a place up here in Greenbrier? I need somebody
I helped them out with some stuff on their place, and they take care of me. I mean, really great guys.
Wasn't that what you? You came in and fixed a cooler that nobody else was able to fix, I believe. Isn't that what it was?
Yeah, funny story. That was a story where, the Ace, you have these coolers where they have beer and wine and stuff. And I'm like, hey, buddy, your door's broken. And he's like, yeah, no, they want, I got to replace the cooler. And I'm like, you don't have to replace the cooler. I can fix that in 5 minutes. He's like, no, don't worry about it. Came back the next time, it was still there. And I was like, man, let me fix this for you. He's like, nah, I don't think you can. And 5 minutes later, I fixed it. He was like, man, you're my best friend. You saved me $3,000. So,
and dude, you've been benefiting from that since day one. That's awesome.
Well, I mean, hey, I have bought a lot of bourbon there. So, he got some money out of it too.
No, that's awesome. That is awesome. I tell you what, I need you to find me. I need you to find me the Black Label Bullet, the single barrel. I can't find it up here to save my life.
Okay.
I found it in Crossville when I was playing a softball tournament out there. Absolutely loved it. Matter of fact, I kept just a 2-finger pour in the bottle forever, just because I knew that as soon as I drank it, it was gone. Unless I order it online or something. And I'm just not much on that. I'd rather go somewhere and pick my bottle up. But yeah, if you see Black Label bourbon or Black Label Bullet.
Well, let's break this down a minute. There may be some people that join us that don't know what bourbon is like or what whiskey's like. When you say 2-finger pour, what are you talking about? So when you look at 2 fingers, that means you got about 2 fingers worth of bourbon. And usually that's about a 2-finger pour. It's what, 3 ounces?
Roughly, yeah.
Roughly 3 ounces.
So 1-finger pour is supposed to be, 1.5 ounces. That's what you're going to get at the bar. 2-finger pour is usually your double. Now personally, I don't know. Normally I do a 3 in my bourbon glasses just because I got the King Ice, and if I don't do a 3 on the King Ice, it's gone like that. So there's some I got. My good buddy Kenny, he loves it neat. He loves that room temperature. Man, I just can't do it. I've got to have it. I've got to have it cold. So I like that. And my mom actually got me a. Is it right there? No, I got it set up in my cabinet, but she got me one of those whiskey kits. It's got the granite cubes that you put in, and so that your bourbon doesn't get watered down. And yeah,
Well,
so I'm
now,
looking forward to that.
hey, this is an informative podcast. We're here to talk about Music City stuff, but I'll tell you what, you took me on a tasting at was that Mount Juliet?
Lebanon, Noon Rotary.
Lebanon Rotary. They had a bourbon tasting, and I enjoyed bourbon, but I didn't understand it. And my palate is, hey, I grew up in a little small town called Fairview, Tennessee. At that point, we had a gravel road for our road was gravel when I grew up there. That tells you how small town we were. When somebody died, the sign changed outside on how many people lived there. Like, it was that small. And
wooden street signs, diving boards off in the river,
Hey, we didn't have diving boards. We had a swing. You pulled a vine off a tree and went out into the river. But at a young age, I partaked in a lot of whiskey.
Would that be partook?
Partake, whatever. I did both actually. But the funny thing was, that was it. I'm not going to say what age I was because that's probably illegal, but we'll talk about the years. There was probably 35 years between there where I didn't know how to drink bourbon. How did I drink bourbon? I just throw it back. And that's not how you do it. You take a sip.
You got to enjoy it. You got to let it
rest on the front of your tongue.
Yes.
Roll it to the back, and then swallow. And the lady that you took me to was a master distiller for Sazerac, which is a Buffalo Trace, they own Buffalo Trace. And she told me that. She told me this, and I'm like, what are you talking about? No, you just throw it back. And at that point, when she taught me that, and I mean, it took 30 plus years, I became a bourbon guy. And damn it,
you've been great connoisseurs ever since then. I tell you what.
A damn snob. I mean, I'm just like,
that's right.
What did you got? I ain't drinking that. You go give me a Sprite.
Let me tell you,
you ruined me. I got to tell you, thank you.
The best story of that night. Now, so this was an event where I was invited out from my good friend Tim Leeper. He's a part of it. He's got a local roofing company here in Middle Tennessee, Tim Leeper Roofing. I'm sure 90% of all of y'all have heard of him. But he invited me out. He said, buy these tickets. He said, if you could jump in, he said, I've still got VIP tickets. And so I was like, well, can I bring some clients or some friends? And he's like, absolutely. So I bought, a few things. And I, of course, made sure you were there. Our good buddy, Dino Primo with Primo Air, brought him along. And so we got these private tastings. We go up into this room when it's our turn, and they've got there's like 3 gigantic circular tables that are laid out, and they've all got flights of bourbon on top of them. And most of them, they were all Wellers, I believe.
They were all Buffalo Trace Distillery. Yeah. They were all Weller. I think there was a Special Reserve.
Yeah, Special Reserve.
The CYMB.
Yep.
The 107.
Yeah.
And the Full Proof.
There was 5. There was one more.
Oh, then there had to be the 12.
Yeah, 12 year. That's what it was.
There was no single barrels. I do remember that. There was no orange labels.
Well, so when I got the tickets, I got the last of the tickets. I bought the last of the tickets for us. So we were on the second tasting. Well, man, that worked out because when we got up there was 4 tables set up with 8 flights on each table. And we only filled up a table and a half with our food. So they were like, oh, yeah, you can go grab the rest of those and bring it.
So what did we do? We went and got them.
I think each of us had like 3 flights apiece.
I'll say this. I had to go eat something before I was ready to drive. I'll be honest.
Man, that
was a good night.
We learned a lot. You guys don't really smoke cigars. I do. So I got some really nice hand-rolled cigars. They rolled them right there in front of us. I think all of us got a bottle of that. Oh shoot, what's that vodka that they make? The
big. What Oh, it's locally distilled in Nashville. Gosh, what is the name of it?
I can't think of it. I'm not really a vodka guy, but we each got a bottle of that. I mean,
It wasn't Picker. Big Machine. Big Machine.
Yes, Big Machine. That was what it was.
I knew there was two. I had to think about it.
Yeah. So it was a great night. It really was. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's get this.
Enough about drinking.
Yeah, enough about drinking. Enough about bourbon. So man, look, today has been a day. This week has been a week, but today has been a day.
Man,
we are a couple hours out of the fact that we just learned that Nick Saban is putting up for retirement. 17 seasons. What is that? Six national championships with Alabama, one national championship with LSU, and he is hanging up the proverbial cleats.
Yeah, I mean, there's been talk. I talked to some people, and we talk about the GOAT of college football coaches, and I mean, he's right up there with Bear Bryant. The difference is, here's why I think he's better than the. And I was in the Bear Bryant era. I think he's better because of one reason. He did it at two schools. He did it at LSU. It doesn't matter. How many other people have done it at LSU? It's a small handful. I mean,
man, I don't know. I don't know if I can follow you down that rabbit hole.
I mean, here's the difference. Man, he's got 6 total.
Yeah.
It's same as Bear. The difference is he's got one more to school that is New Orleans.
Well, he's got 7 total. 6
six at Alabama, but he's got one at a college that before he got there was not known for that. I mean, that's what catapulted him. He goes to the NFL, drops back to college because, I mean, obviously that's not his thing, and then crushes Alabama for the last 6 years. It's going to be interesting to see who they pick. I got to say hats off. In my opinion, he's the GOAT. That's just my opinion.
Well, so, all right. Well, let's roll into that. All right. So this is such a widely talked about thing right now, with Saban and with Vrabel with the Titans. Okay, so who's replacing Saban? So, you've got names out there. You've got Dan Lanning that's being talked about from Oregon. You've got what's his name in Texas? Steve Sarkisian is being talked about with it. Mike Norvell, Florida State, is being talked about it. Dabo Sweeney with Clemson is being talked. So I mean, there's some big names that are being talked about for taking over this. But the thing I read earlier that just made me laugh so hard was that Lane Kiffin started texting people. But
there's three. I think the 3 contenders that nobody's thinking about right now, obviously Lane Kiffin, like you just said.
Yeah.
Butch Jones.
Come on.
Hey.
Come on.
Hey, he sucked at Tennessee, but he's killing it at Arkansas. I mean, let's be serious. Who wants to go to Arkansas?
He did good at Cincinnati too. I mean, I will give him that.
Yeah, but here, who wants to go to Arkansas? Have you ever been to Arkansas? Have you ever been to Arkansas?
Well, yeah.
I consider Arkansas the river of states because when you drive on their roads, it's like you're on a river. You're just bouncing up and down all the way around. That place sucks. I mean, outside of
apparently you haven't been on 65 north of Nashville because you do the same thing right there too.
It doesn't matter. We ain't gonna talk about that. That place is awful. I mean, hey, they got Walmart and that's about it. And the third name, and I called this a couple of years ago when on another podcast that I was doing for Coach's Call, which is about sports. I said, Nick Saban has a super close relationship with a guy named Deion Sanders. And if you want to talk about listen, there's 2 types of people that are in the college football ranks. The people that love Alabama and the people that hate Alabama. There's no in between. You either love them or hate them. You hate them because they're kicking your team's butt, or you love them because you like winners.
Well, I'm a UT fan, so I can just hate him because I'm a UT fan. How about that?
but you hate him because he kicks your ass.
Not last year, sir.
Ah, come on now. What about this year?
Okay, maybe this year.
All right.
I'm just saying, not last year. That's what I'm hanging my hat on.
I think Nick Saban is probably one of the top 3 coaches that can take a player from this level and put them in the NFL. If you look at his players that have gone on to make NFL careers, man, that number is astounding. And that has 2 things. 1, recruiting, 2, coaching.
Yeah.
You get them in as a 4 or 5-star player, and then you coach them up to the NFL. There are people that have been recruited for 5 stars and never make the NFL. But if you're recruited in Alabama as a 4 or 5-star, you got a good shot because he's going to coach you up.
Well,
the problem is, let me finish. The problem is you're not recruiting players for NFL anymore. You're recruiting them for NIL.
Yeah, for sure.
Because now the game has changed. We need to get you in, and we've got to promote you so that you can get your money, and then we hope to coach you up to the NFL and make some big things. And I think that goes against everything Nick Saban has ever stood for. That said, that goes for everything that Deion Sanders stands for. Deion is about the flash, the prime time, the money, the bling, bringing in the media. It's a whole different game. And I said this 2 years ago. I said within 3 years, Nick Saban will be out and Deion will be in. And, you know, people have said, well, Deion didn't really succeed at Colorado. I beg to differ because, I mean, before Deion got there, they won like 1 or 2 games, and now they won 4 or 5. But the difference is the media splash that you tell me 2 years, you know, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, who wants to go play for Colorado? And the number's 0. Now the people are like, man, I might get coached by Chad Ochocinco. And I might get coached by Deion Sanders. I might get to see, you know, whatever rapper is hot coming on there. I mean, it's a life,
benefits your career because
it's a life. Yeah, it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle change for you as a 19-year-old kid. That's huge because now you get the NIL money, and I mean, there's talk of now moving NIL into high school football.
Man,
high school football. No, it's coming, dude. It's coming. You're going to see high school football players that are 5-star recruits signing $5,000 to $10,000 a month contracts. That's going to happen. I mean, it is what it is. There's kids out there that have, and hey, I'm an old fart. I'll admit it. There's kids out there that have.
I'm not going to dispute that.
500, 600,000 followers on their Instagram or TikTok. And now the college looks at it and goes, well, hell, he's got 1 million followers. Let's sign this NIL deal with the Chevrolet dealership over here because he's got 1 million followers. And that's worth X money. So it's a business situation. And my personal opinion, and like I said, I have no ties to Nick Saban. I don't know him. I've never met him. But from an outsider's perspective, that's not what he's about. He's about taking that kid that's here and making him here. And I think that's a huge thing. I hate to see him go, but man, I got to consider him my GOAT of college football coaches.
Okay, so there's a lot to chew on and all that you've said. So look, let's just start with one. Before we get to Deion and all that stuff, start with one. So the decision that Saban has made has already, I mean, almost immediately impacted Alabama. So Ryan Williams, 5-star wide receiver recruit. I mean, within an hour of Saban making, of that becoming public knowledge, has already decommitted from Alabama.
Yep.
And I feel like that's I feel like that's going to be.
There's going to be more to come. That's the tip of the
I feel like
iceberg.
that's just the tip of the iceberg with that. Man, Deion. So he brought he brought recognition to Colorado, but in my opinion, unfortunately, I don't think it's the recognition that Colorado really needs. Now, there's a lot of people out there that say there's no such thing as bad publicity, but
Yep.
man, do I really want to go and play for the school that all of the focus is on the the coach? There's no focus on the players. They ranked them all the way up at 16 just because they won 2 games. They jumped them up to 16 in the top 25 because they won 2 games. And then it showed up, really, they're not that good. They just have a great PR system going on because honestly, Deion is the GOAT as far as wide receivers and showboating and all that's concerned. But that does not equate to a good coach. And so do you take Deion Sanders, who's got this great PR, he's got all this media attention, he's got all these people that love him, he's bringing this whole new culture to the team. Do you put that in Alabama because it's shown up so much for Colorado when Alabama is known for being an absolute tank that rolls over people, that puts people out of commission, that goes 12-2 in a freaking season, which is what they did this year with this big old upset win over Georgia in the SEC championship. And the only people that really put them out of commission was the team that went on to win the whole thing this year. I don't see that as equating. I mean, yes, Deion is. I just don't see him coming in and taking over the reins of something that's a powerhouse like that, just because he's got this great media attention.
Well, here's the thing that I think. How hard is it to recruit to Colorado? I mean, one, it's cold up there. It's really cold. Me and you have been there. Is it cold? We went in the summer. And it was cold. I mean, when I talk summer, I'm talking August.
Yeah.
It was cold. I mean, what was it, like 70 at the hottest?
Well, we were 7,500 feet up in the air, too.
Guess what? All of Colorado's that way. I mean, the whole place is up there. Two, you look at the people that are talking about it, the Travis Hunters, the Jimmy Horns. And I mean, you can say what you want. Like Deion brought Travis with him from Jackson. I mean, Jimmy Horn was not. Jimmy Horn is he came in because of Deion. But if you hear the players talk about it, they talk about having an experience, getting to meet other NFL players, getting coached up by NFL players. When I say coached up, I'm talking about, listen, I was not a pro player. Not. But when you hear somebody like Chad Ochocinco saying, hey, I'll come work for you. I'll take a discount because I want to be part of what you're building. I want to be part of that team. I want to help these boys become men and go to that level.
Yeah, but on that same thing, Ochocinco, Chad Johnson, whatever the heck he goes by, he is on that same level of showboat that Deion is. Maybe not quite as flashy as Deion, but he was always that same. So it doesn't surprise me that he wants to be a part of that.
Hey, guess what, though? He wants the limelight, the attention. But guess what? You got to recruit those guys. I mean, you got to have – we'll talk about this in a minute with Mike Vrabel. The best coaches get the best coordinators, and they coach those coordinators up. I won't talk about Vrabel right now. I'll talk about a guy named Mike Mularkey, who was the previous Titans coach, and Jeff Fisher, also previous Titans coach. Look at how many of their coordinators got hired for NFL jobs, either as head coaches or assistant head coaches, from them.
Right.
And then you look at somebody like Vrabel, who I think overall has a shining head coach resume, and people are going to want Mike Vrabel. He's leaving the Titans. People are going to want him. But if you deep dive into his assistant coaches, coordinator positions, they don't look good. And guess who's responsible for hiring those? The head coach.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And like you said, we'll cover Vrabel in a minute. But man, I don't know. I am with you on the fact that I know that Dion can bring that attention. He can bring the high end media culture that is going to keep him in the news. It's going to keep him in the. But what I'm looking at is the people that are going, the kids that are going to Alabama are the kids that are wanting to train, steamroll over whoever, win a national championship. They're not looking for that showboat. They're looking that they want their performance on that field to be the reason why so and so is calling them to the draft. They're pulling them up, and you look at Tua, you look at Derrick Henry, you look at people that came to Alabama and they shine. You know what? They're shining in the NFL too. Derrick Henry's freaking king. I don't know. I love Derrick Henry. I don't know that I put him over Eddie George as my favorite Titans running back, but I don't know. I really, the whole Ray Lewis, Eddie George era where they're going at each other, man, that just heightened him so much. But you can't dispute the success level of the Alabama players that go in there, and Colorado, while they've got some good players, that's what they are. They're good players.
Yeah,
they're not anybody that's gonna shake down.
Two things on that. One, Colorado players have only been under Dion for one season. Right. That said, if he stays at Colorado, I think you'll see more of them go to the NFL. I think Dion he's a motivator. He's a great recruiter. It's still a little early to see if he's a good coach because, this is his third year. He just finished his third. He's going into his fourth year as a head coach. How can you say somebody's a great head coach in 4 years? You've got to.
But that's the point. That's what Alabama's looking for, is a great coach.
Okay, but here's the kicker. Not only they're looking for a great coach, they understand Nick Saban's. If he had a glaring
setback,
fault, we'll say fault or setback, it was he didn't give 2 cents about NIL.
Proud of you. Good job.
2 cents.
Oh, we lost your audio.
Sorry. He didn't give 2 cents about caring. He didn't give 2 cents caring about NILs. He wanted to coach those players up. He wanted to make them the best that he could do. And unfortunately, in this day and age, you don't have players that care about that. They care about, hey, I could make a life-changing decision going to a lesser team for more money than, I do understand that argument. Hey, you're a realtor. Let me ask you a question. I got a $10 million house that I'm going to give you my business. I'm going to sell it. I want you to sell my $10 million house, but you can't take on any new clients until my house is sold. Would you do it?
Yes.
Okay. That's a high school player's NIL deal.
No, because you think about it.
Because he doesn't care.
In the world of real estate, that $10 million house pays a $300,000 commission.
Okay. But here's my point on that. You're only getting the sale. You're not getting the sale in the buy.
Okay.
Here's the kicker. Let's say the market's hot and you could get 20 new clients in the time that it took to sell that $10 million house.
Yeah.
That's what those college players look at. They're not looking at you as a realtor selling 20 houses in a year. They're saying, hey, I want my money now. And I get it, dude. It's a hard proposition because the money is so big. They don't care about
really
the future.
ruining it. It really is ruining it. The NIL is one of the worst things that has ever happened to college football, period. You know, I mean, yeah, some of these lesser teams, some of these smaller teams are getting 5 stars because of it, but it's still, I mean, come on. You know,
I don't know that it's the worst thing. I think the worst part of it is it's unrestricted. There's no rules on it.
yeah.
So you can hey, let's do this. Me and you are going to recruit I know you're a Tennessee guy and I'm a Vanderbilt guy, and that doesn't really mesh, but we'll call it even and recruit a Belmont guy. And we'll come up with a corporation called Music City Mix, which we're doing. Yeah. And we're gonna give a Belmont recruit $50,000, and all they got to do is come on our podcast twice a week. That's our selling point. But guess what? That doesn't make us good people. We don't know the recruit. We're just looking for splash. We're looking for pizzazz. We're looking to get a market that we don't have. And when it comes to I can't tell you how to coach up a player that shoots 3-pointers. I can't tell you how to coach a person up that drives the paint or catches the long ball or can block on the outside. But I can market myself. I can market a player. So that's all I need. I don't give a crap about anything else. So I do understand it from an NIL deal. But the problem is there's no restrictions on that. Me and you could do this, and guess what? We may just want to be promoting our business. We don't give a shit about this kid. And that's sad. I mean, that's the sad part. There needs to be some parameters and say, hey,
there does.
If you're going to do this, have a legit business, have it established for 5 years, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. I don't know what the parameters are. I'm not the guy in charge. But it can't be me and you making a decision. We love Belmont or we love UT or we love Vanderbilt so much, we're going to throw $100,000 out of our pocket every year to give a guy a chance to make us better. Because that's all we're doing. I mean, we're not helping that kid out. We just want to make our name better. And that's all we give a crap about. And that's sad. That's really sad.
It is. It is. Well,
let's move on to the pros.
Yeah, let's do that. You know, we'll leave Saban on the fact that, you know, I would love to know what's going on with him by episode 3 for us next week.
That ain't gonna happen.
Honestly, as far as Music City Mix is concerned, how awesome is it that we got this kind of a news week? I'm just saying. But
we were talking about the Titans last week, and we're talking about the Titans again this week.
And, you know, and that's kind of the thing. And there's some other things we want to get into today. You know, I think this episode is probably gonna breach the 30-minute mark that we're trying to stick to.
That's fine.
But you know what? I'm fine with that because there's a lot of good stuff going on. So okay, Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel got fired. Not only did he get fired, he got fired after a Titans win that was a nice statement to the Jaguars that took the Jaguars out of the playoffs. It's kind of the whole thing of if we ain't going, you ain't going.
Yep. That's right.
Which I love. But I know you've got some great opinions on this, you know, with us talking. You are on the side of you understand why it happened and you kind of agree with it. Tell us about that.
I do. Two things. One, I know a lot of people inside the organization that are, you know, clients or friends. And two, I do know that there was a lot of heat going in 7 weeks ago. We're not talking 2 weeks ago. We're talking 7 weeks ago. There was about the time that Levis took over, there was some friction. And I'm not going to say if it was Rand or Amy was like, hey, give Levis a chance.
I was both.
Instead of, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to say, I don't want to divulge contacts or anything like that. I'm not going to say that there was friction between those two, but I can tell you this. Vrabel had a hand in Malik Willis, and he did not have a hand in Will Levis.
Yeah.
And that pick came from management. And
I was not a big fan, but you know.
I know you're not. We talked about this last time.
Yeah.
You're not a Levis fan. Guess what? He's your new franchise guy.
He is.
And I expect they'll live out Malik's contract. But Tannehill's gone. Now here's the kicker. Here's the kicker that I love. And this is why I love it. Rand gets in the interview and they're talking about Derrick Henry. And he said, hey, that's a coach's decision. If whoever we bring in wants to keep Derrick Henry, we'll keep him. Now, the reason why, 2 reasons. One, if you heard Derrick's press conference, that man wants to stay here and he wants to bring that little thing that goes on this finger right here. It ain't a wedding band. It's a championship ring. He wants to bring that ring to Tennessee and he wants to finish his career as a Titan. He's got a beautiful house over here in Middle Tennessee. Amazing house. I've seen it, been inside of it. He wants to bring that ring back home. And 2, he enjoys this community. If you talk about people that do more for this community, there's 3 guys that come to mind. 1 is Kevin Byard, who's not here anymore. 2 is Derrick Henry, and 3 is Jeffrey Simmons. Those 3 guys are responsible for reaching out to the community and doing things. And that's something that we haven't seen in a while. I mean, that was some Steve McNair, Eddie George type stuff. And
the whole 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, those are the guys. Chris Johnson was a monster, but he wasn't that guy that
he lost my love when he held out that year, man.
Yeah, he wasn't that guy that went out to the community. Vince Young had some great years, but he wasn't that guy that reached out to the community. Those are the guys that get inside and help people and want to encourage people. They want to build. Amy is looking at a new stadium, a different direction, and she looked at Vrabel and said, you don't fit what we're looking for. And do I think Vrabel's a good coach? Yeah, I think he's probably one of the top recruits out there right now. But I have a feeling he's going to fall on his face because 2 reasons. 2 reasons. He does not coach players up, and he does not get the best assistant coaches. If you look at Malarkey and Fisher, who we had before, their assistant coaches went to offensive coordinators. They went to head coaches. They went to assistant head coaches. You look at Vrabel's guys, and they're out of the league. Second reason, you look at players. When they draft players, the players that have been drafted under Vrabel, and he had a hand in it. Before Rand got there, he had a bigger hand in it. The players that we drafted outside of Simmons and AJ are all busts. And most of them aren't even in the league. We've got 4 first-rounders over the last, since Vrabel's careers, that aren't in the freaking league.
Yeah.
How can you draft a first-round player that is not even in the league? We're talking a guy that was drafted in 2020 and is not playing in the league. How is that possible? And listen, when you draft a player like Skronsky, which I was kind of a fan of, left tackle, he's one of the top left tackles coming in. And you're going to say, hey, we're going to draft this guy as left tackle. And he never plays a single snap at left tackle. What happened? You made a bad choice. You evaluated wrong and said, this guy's not your blindside tackle. we're going to put him at guard, then you made a bad choice. That's not Rand. That's not Vrabel. That's both of them. They both combined to make this bad choice.
Yeah.
So, now that said, they made it up with the Levis trade, because he's obviously going to be the starting quarterback for the next 3 or 4 years. Now, is he the franchise? I don't know. That takes 5-7 years, but he's going to be here for the next 3 years. Get used to it.
I know.
I think the problem is when they looked at him, they looked at his last 2 or 3 years where he had a lot more control when the head coach, when the GM was there, John. I think they said that coupled with your decision on offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, strength coaches was not on par. And your problem is you're too loyal to those guys to can them when they're not doing a good job. And yeah. I'm curious. Hey, I think he ends up in New England. I'm very curious to see who he hires and how they play out. But I'll guarantee you this. His offensive coordinator was Tim Kelly this year. Don't think he ends up with Vrabel no matter where he goes.
I don't doubt that.
Because his predictability is at like 98%. It may be 97 at the lowest, but I can guarantee you he is so predictable. My kids over here, which are 11, are going, "Hey, Dad, I bet they run the ball on first down."
Yeah,
Hey, guess what? Derrick Henry is not in the game. They're going to pass it.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, look, here's my thing with him. Okay, I am 100% in agreement with you on his selections and his picks for coaches, strength and conditioning. All that was just did not work out well for the team.
Yeah.
But you cannot discredit the fact that, one, he's not Rand's guy. And it was kind of pretty obvious from the beginning that he's not Rand's guy. And then, Amy kept changing where the field goals are for the entire thing. That everything was the expectations were changing and all. So, it was kind of written in stone. You knew it wasn't gonna stay.
Yeah, 18 to 20. Hey, from 2018 to 2021, 41 and 24. From 22 and 23, 13 and 21. And the big thing was, at no point did they make changes to make them a better team. I'll say this about some of the best head coaches in the NFL. They make second half adjustments.
Yeah.
The Titans are the lowest scoring league in the second half over the last 4 years. Not the last 2, but the last 4 years. Second lowest scoring team.
That he did have
that
some,
shows that
some
shows
stuff.
but that shows, hey, when I get into halftime, I can't make fucking adjustments. I can't adjust to what the other guy's doing. That's on me. Because you got to make adjustments. You got to see what the game plan is. And I understand NFL has first 10 plays scripted, but a good coach makes adjustments on the fly. Let's talk about one of the greatest adjustments on the fly ever. What would that be?
Jimmy Johnson comes to mind. What are you thinking though? What are you talking about?
I'm thinking one play, and it's a Titans play.
All right.
What was it?
I don't know. You're not going to say the Music City Miracle.
I am going to say the Music City Miracle. If you didn't hear that, it came out this week because this is the anniversary.
Yeah.
So they had a guy named Derek Mason, and he was supposed to catch the pass.
Good dude, by the way. I've met him a few times.
He was out. He had a concussion. His replacement had cramps. Could not get in the play. So they got a guy named Kevin Dyson. Jeff Fisher said he went to Kevin Dyson. He goes, "Hey, we're going to run the home run throwback." Dyson admits to him on the sidelines, "Coach, I know we practice it every Saturday, but I've never paid attention. This is an interview. It came out this week. And Dyson said, I'd never watched. I wasn't paying attention. I was a second-year player, just didn't pay attention. And Jeff said, listen, no matter where the ball is on the field, you stay 5 yards behind it. Then they get everything, and they're talking about, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to run home run throwback. And Lorenzo Neal says, he goes to coach. He goes, if it ball's kicked to me, because they were expecting to quit, because I'm throwing it to Frank no matter where he's at. And Lorenzo goes to Frank and says, hey, I'm going to throw the ball to you. Coach said, if I get it, I'm throwing to you.
Yeah.
They made adjustments. That shows me that coach had faith in his players, coached them up, and said, listen, no matter what happens, do this. I don't think Vrabel's that guy. I think Fisher was that guy and said, hey, I'm going to coach you up no matter what the situation is. I'm going to help you get to that level. But if you listen to players coming out of the league, the Titans have had so many people get cut or traded, and they never have said, yeah, you know what? I appreciate my time here. Vrabel was a great coach. The organization was good. I hate to leave, but I do understand some business.
There has been some of that. I mean, Taylor Lewan was straight on. Yeah, Taylor Lewan was straight on about how awesome Vrabel was, and I mean that was his whole take on this entire thing, was how awesome, and he couldn't believe it was happening. Now personally, I'm not a Taylor Lewan fan. As far as his play, I felt like you get a hangnail and some bitch was out, but kind of like the whole Marcus Mariota thing, but. Yeah, I mean, there's Titans players that feel like Vrabel did, a great job. But honestly, with all of this, the proof is in the pudding. You got
people like AJ Brown and some of these guys that have left recently. Even Kevin Byard was like, man, I understand it's a business decision. I just hated it. I think it was the wrong decision. And it comes down to head coach. I mean, there was nothing good AJ had to say about the Titans organization. I mean, and if you listen to his interviews, he was like, it's a shit show. And now, granted, he was traded before Rand. He was pre-Rand. But if you listen to Rand talk about Derrick Henry, he's like, hey, listen, it is going to be a coach's decision, but I want to see him wear the blue
for the
rest of the career.
There was no coach's decision. Ram was running this stuff. Everybody knew, early on since he got there that Vrabel was not his guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, Haiti. And now,
hey,
Rand, whatever it is.
Let's give Rand some credit. He never threw Vrabel
I do. I like him.
He never threw him under the bus. He was never like, hey,
yes,
that guy's not good. But in the same sense, if you are a analytics guy and you look at play calling and first down percentage on yards and things like that, and how many yards per first down you're getting, you look at Rand looks at Vrabel and goes, hey man, your OC sucks. And he goes, man, he's my guy. Well, then it's your fault.
Right.
And I mean, I'm pretty sure when Rand came in, he was like, listen, you got to get a new OC. He's like, okay, I'm going to give you Tim Kelly. And then Tim's like, well, I'm going to do the same thing the other guy was doing. If Derrick Henry's in a game, I'm going to run the ball. If he's not in a game, I'm going to throw the ball. I mean.
Which we don't need. God, we don't need that. But
that ain't how it goes.
All right, so let's talk about this. Thank you so much.
You
gotta love the wife that'll bring you some more ice for your burger.
Oh man, hang on.
So let's talk about this. All right. So now, love it, hate it, whatever the case may be, Vrabel is gone. Right. So let's talk about placements. All right. So honestly, the very first one that popped into my head was Jim Harbaugh, but
which it should be.
But that isn't right. But that is not the one that is getting the most publicity at the moment. So right now, the most publicity and who everybody really thinks is going to happen is Antonio Pierce, who has taken over as the head coach for the
The
Raiders.
Raiders.
Yes. Now, in my opinion, I think Antonio Pierce really probably does have the top running spot on that. But here's the cool name that me personally, as an NFL fanboy, would just freaking swoon over if the Titans did it, is Bill Belichick. So
That ain't gonna happen, brother.
Harbaugh, Belichick, Antonio Pierce. What do you think? What do you think of those three picks?
So here's the thing that that I think you're gonna see. I think that one, yeah, I mean, who we talked about is Antonio Pierce is a great replacement. But I can tell you right now, here are the people they have asked for. That means they've already said, we want to talk to you because we think you are a good candidate. Brian Callahan, they've already sent out a submission form for the Bengals offensive coordinator. Aaron Glenn, Lions defensive coordinator. Obviously, Jim Harbaugh, they have already sent a saying we want to talk to you about it. Ben Johnson, also Lions offensive coordinator. Anthony Lynn, and you got to remember, Rand comes from that San Francisco situation. That's probably his choice, by my opinion. Mike McDonald and Todd Monken, also from the Ravens. Raheem Morris, the Rams defense. Dan Quinn, Cowboys defense. Here's the one that intrigues me the most. You're taking
this down to like the 10th and 11th and 12th picks?
Good yeah, God. No. Okay. These are the people that have already been requested. This is official request because you have to submit an official request. Bobby Slowick is the defensive coordinator or the offensive coordinator for Texans. Arthur Smith is somebody that they probably won't take. Frank Smith, offensive coordinator for the Dolphins. But the one that is the most intriguing, this is the one that is the most intriguing to me, is a guy named Jim Schwartz. If you remember, Jim Schwartz coached under Jeff Fisher. He then went on to head coach the Detroit Lions and did not do well there. But he went back to the Bills.
Who has done well with the Lions till this year?
I mean, that's true. He then went to the Bills and revived his career again. And it is crazy that Jim Schwartz has come full circle, but his name's in the hat. I think it's probably between three people. I think it's between Jim Schwartz. I think it is Antonio Pierce and Jim Harbaugh. And I think Amy Strunk pulled the trigger as early as she did because people were talking about trading him. I think she pulled the trigger because she wants to get this done in the next 2 weeks. Do not expect this to drag out a month. She wants to make a decision.
There's no way it will. There's no way it will.
Listen, Seattle's going to take time. Atlanta's going to take time. They're going to take a lot of time. I think there's two teams in the NFL right now that pull the trigger quickly. San Diego Chargers and the Tennessee Titans. Mm-hmm. And people have talked about the Titans being a broke franchise, a poor franchise, a bottom barrel franchise. And I get it. We've got a track record for that. But Amy just put up $1.3 billion, whatever the number was, for that stadium. When that thing opens next year, not this year, but next year, she wants to see flash. She wants to see offense, scoring points, making adjustments at halftime. She wants to see one of these.
Yeah. Which is, honestly, that is the entire reason why I think Harbaugh is the top of that list. I really do.
Oh, by far. Harbaugh is the number one candidate. I mean, and people, if you tell me that you are the Washington Commanders and you've got a chance to go Vrabel or Harbaugh, same money, same contract, you're taking Harbaugh.
Harbaugh, yeah.
If you are any other team in the NFL, besides the New England Patriots. You're taking Harbaugh.
I agree with that. But I also honestly believe that Mike Vrabel does better at any other team in the NFL because he was not on the radar of the management of the Tennessee Titans. He just wasn't. And I know, and I really feel like he will do better at any other team in the NFL. I mean, maybe he comes in and it doesn't age well. Maybe that doesn't happen. But there's no doubt whatsoever that Mike Vrabel is on the top 5 of everybody's list right now to pick. I mean, he immediately went to the top of the list of coaches to pick up for the NFL. And
he did. He definitely went top 5.
And he is going to excel without Rand and without Amy. He's going to.
Now let's talk about that. I got 2 things that I want to say. One, he only excels if he learns. He has to learn to not be so loyal to his coaches. That's the 2 things. One, he only excels if he learns. 2, the biggest thing he's got to learn is not to be too loyal to his coaches. If his coaches are screwing up, he's got to say, hey, buddy, my way or the highway.
Yeah.
I'll guarantee you this. There are 0 coaches that go with him to his next job. 0. That's just my opinion.
Well, I don't know why he would want to bring him. I mean, he's got to realize that, bless you, he's got to realize that that's part of the reason why he's going. By the way, that microphone is freaking awesome.
Did it pick up the sneezes?
No. But the fact that it's changing color, dude, that is an awesome microphone.
I gotta get you one of these, bro. I gotta get you one of these. I'm high tech over here. Last week, if you didn't join us, you're an idiot. 2, we did all this from Chris's house with a table. And listen, we're working on our setup. It's gonna get better. We've got a couple things going on. This was supposed to be at Chris's house, but in true Donnie Nolan fashion, January is not my month. My car breaks down, my grill breaks, like everything's just breaking around me in January. January is not my month. There's a lot of bad things happen. I'm okay with it because I understand if January's bad, the rest of the year is good. So I'll take 1 out of 12.
Look, this is how this happened. Okay. So for years, I mean, when I was younger, I'm fixing to turn 49. I realize you're already Methuselah. But,
yeah, whatever, buddy.
I'm fixing to turn 49, but for years, I was in a band. I had this nice equipment. I've got this really nice PV mixing board and all these EV mics and everything going. So we had all this stuff set up and ready to go. And it turns out that this freaking Lenovo computer that I bought that works for everything else under the sun is not compatible with anything that I use. So first week, those of you that are watching or following, everything had to be done on an iPhone 15, and it was fine. It worked. It worked out. Other than the fact that I'm trying to make some clips from the podcast and put them on social media, and I'm completely failing at that. So hopefully that gets better because right now it's terrible. But
no, I get it.
But we had everything set up and ready to go for tonight, and then Donnie's car laid a big
it's January for me.
Laid a big egg. So but
it didn't lay a big egg.
Promise everybody, we've got things. And things are going to get together and work out where you're watching us and it's a nice clear audio, it's a nice clear video, maybe one of those ones that switches between the speaker, whoever's talking, the video switches back.
We're already doing that. We're already doing that right now, bro. You don't even know.
Well, I mean, it depends on I guess it depends on how you're recording. See, now I've got it set up.
I'm recording so that when I'm recording that right now, I'm talking, I get to see me. And when I shut up, you get to see you. Because, I don't like seeing your face. I'm just honest.
See, then I've got this webcam that's up here above my monitor, right? And so when I'm watching you, it looks like I'm looking freaking Australia instead of watching what's going
I
on.
mean, have you ever heard of green screens? Do you know what a virtual background is? Look at me. I got the city of Nashville behind me.
I've got to figure out how to do that. But I've got a cool background. Okay, I've got guitars.
Hey, let me ask you this.
I've got
Let me ask you this.
I've got cigars. I've got bourbon. I mean, what's wrong with my background? Come on, that's man's background right there. Cigars, guitars.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
And bourbon. You can't go wrong with that.
When you connect to the internet, do you hear? I've seen your computer. I know what it does. It goes.
That's not my computer that's the problem. It's the internet. I live in the freaking
No, bro, I've seen your computer. It's got less USBs than I have eyes.
Well, and all my USBs are in this desk thing. So this desk that I bought is pretty awesome, right? So it's got all these USBs that are.
Let me ask you this: how many USB ports does your computer have?
3.
No, I saw it. It has one. It has
one.
one.
3. It has 3.
Then the other 2 don't work.
It has 3, and then this has 2. The desk has 2, and the computer has 3. That's 5.
My computer has 9.
Is that right? Is that the one that you dropped on the floor while we were?
No, that's I can't show the picture. Actually, I can show you the picture. Look at this. Woo! Wait, it may not show it. I got it.
Yeah, all I see is the background of Nashville. See?
Oh, I got the background of
Nashville.
Nashville.
Stuff is real. At least my stuff is real.
Whatever. I ain't gonna talk about it. I'm virtual. But anyway, let's talk about let's wrap it up here tonight. I know we talked total sports today. Is there anything going on in the real estate world you want to talk about real quick?
Yes. So this is actually very exciting, in my opinion. So one of my sons is buying his first home, and he doesn't have the greatest of credit scores. Actually, I think it's upper 600s. He got a 6.1 interest rate with, I think it's like a 680 credit score. That is freaking fantastic. That means amazing. If you've got 700 plus, that you're in the 5s. Man, yes, that is the way to. I mean, this spring is going to be fantastic. It really is. I mean, things are going to be hot. Things are going to be jumping. Now, the downside to that is because things are going great on the money side, on the financial side, the inventory is going to go. And you know, when the inventory goes, the prices for the houses goes. So there's good and there's bad. But if you are one of those folks that has been waiting because we spent so much time in the 8s on in October and November, it's time. Jump in this before the inventory is gone.
I agree. I agree, buddy. I mean, it's gonna be a wild ride over the next couple of months because of all the stuff that's going on in the Middle Tennessee area. I'm excited because I understand what that means. Do I think there's going to be, peaks and valleys? Of course. I mean, that's how all booms are. I mean, you don't see a steady stream of just upward motion. You see a little bit of retraction and then skyrocket up. And I think that's what we're looking at in this area. I can tell you this. I fielded more calls over the last 2 weeks than I fielded in any other 2 weeks. Now, I would love to tell you that my marketing skills are just like, I'm the best. No, it's because we're so busy from top to bottom. I'm getting calls from people that I've never met, never heard of, I didn't even do work for their neighbors. They just heard my name and they're like, hey, I need you to do this. Some of it's stuff that listen, I'm not going to spend, I had a lady today call me that was like, hey, I need you to come fix this piece of siding that flew off my house. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. I'll send a guy over. It's probably just going to be a trip charge. And she's like, well, I was thinking like $25 because all you really need is a ladder. And I'm like, it's an hour drive round trip. I'm not doing it for $25. Like, it's not worth my time. Try Facebook, get a handyman. I'm not a handyman. I'm a general contractor. I think that Nashville is in that area where we still get those handyman jobs, but there's so many more people that are like, I want to sell my house. I want to upgrade my house. I looked at a 3,000 square foot house today that wants to take all their vinyl off and move to Hardy, move to that batten board look, only because they bought that house 20 years ago and it had vinyl siding on it. And they realized
of fiber rock, by the way, over Hardy board. Just
yeah, I mean, they realize now that the market has changed and vinyl siding is not the way to go. You can't really put brick on it for the price you can like the Hardy and get the same return on investment. They're looking to sell in the next, 6 to 12 months, and I definitely give them your number, but they understand as a marketing perspective, let's say they spend 40 grand on Hardy versus 120 on brick. To get the same ROI, they're not going to get the ROI on brick, but they may get a little bit. Like ROI on brick is a negative because it costs so much on a 3,000 square foot house. But if you're talking about the ROI on Hardy, it goes up. Where vinyl, if you leave it here, it's way down. I mean, vinyl, especially a 20-year-old vinyl, I mean, it's only got 10 more years max. And that's if you're lucky. So I think we're seeing that 15 to 20 year maturation of the marketplace houses that are now getting, this was in a little suburb called Smyrna, which is right outside of Nashville. He's been there.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that little anymore. He's been there 20 years. Maybe a quarter mile down the street, they're building 300 new homes. And they've been working on that 300 new home property for almost 12 months. And when I was there today, we heard blasting. We heard the boom, 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 the hammer jacking that limestone and bedrock that we're so familiar with in Middle Tennessee. They're out there digging that up. I know you've got a property for sale that's, how many acres is it that in Mount Jewett, the development property?
Yeah, it's 26 acres.
26 acres. My thing is this. Let's say I'm going to build 26 acres. I'm going to put in, let's say 60 houses, which is on the low end. I'm probably going to
45 is about the most you're going to get out of this.
Okay, so let's do 40. I still have to put it all the water lines, all the electric. I've got to run, all the sewage and septic. I'm there 2 years before I ever put the first house foundation in, because people don't realize it. This Middle Tennessee area has a ton of hard rock underneath. And if you don't have hard rock underneath, you got this little thing called underground water, where a stream is rolling underground 2 miles. And I can't divert that stream, because if I divert it, it's going to go into Bill's house over here, and he's going to get pissed at me and sue me for diverting the water. So the building in this area takes a lot of time. I can go to Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky. I can probably be there 6 months before I throw the first stakes in the ground. But in Middle Tennessee, because of the limestone and bedrock, I'm going to be here for 18, 24 months before I ever put the first stake in the ground. And we're seeing a lot more people in that 20-year, 15, 10-year range now think maybe it's the time to sell my house, because I know that Bob over here is building this, 300 unit subdivision, and I get the most out of it right now before it goes in.
Yeah.
So,
well,
yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of folks, even with that particular property. I mean, for those of you watching that know the Mount Juliet area, it's a hot area. This particular property is dead center between Mount Juliet Road and Highway 109.
Yes, it
And
is.
it's 26 acres. You know, and originally this thing was listed at 1.6 million, because you've got not even a half a mile away, the commercial property is encroaching in on it. You got Amazon that's built out there. You've got Under Armour. There's a couple of big companies that
Some
have
big
built.
names out there. Yeah.
You know, so the it's gone under contract a couple of times. You know, the first guy that put it under contract, he was wanting to build multifamily homes out there, and what ended up being the issue with it, one, is that had to be annexed into the city of Lebanon, and then two, the surrounding homeowners had to agree and approve of that. And you know,
Yep.
if you're anybody that owns land out in a rural area, and somebody says, "Oh yeah, you know, I just need your approval for this multifamily home," that's not happening. It's not happening. So of course that one dropped out. But
Right.
you know, that entire area. I mean, the name is Quarry Road. What does that tell you? The entire
Gonna have
road is
some
rocky.
road. Gonna have some
You
issues.
know, there's the traditional ways of installing septic systems are not going to happen. Now there is sewer, but it's a mile away. So
Yep.
you're looking at some sort of a step system. You're looking at a pond system, something like that to do it.
Yep.
So you know, thankfully, the seller, the person who owns the land, after talking to her and letting her understand, you know, that these are the obstacles that we're going to have to overcome, she took it from 1.6 million to 750,000.
That's good.
Thankfully, because now we're down to where what this land is worth. So you know, now that we're there, I really don't expect it to last real long. But you know, if there's any builders watching this, you know, this land is prime, and I cannot stress the fact that it is dead center of Mount Juliet Road and 109. It is in
Yes,
the
sir.
absolute greatest part of that part of Mount Juliet. But anyway, so man, this has been a great. You know, there's folks that were you know, that were talking to me and they were like, you know, are you going to cover everything? I want
We're
to
gonna
cover
cover everything.
everything before we get out of here, before we go. You know, you've got some great thoughts on some of the things that are happening around town politically, and I really feel like they need to be expressed. They need to be brought out.
Oh Lord. Are we talking Joe? Are we talking Hunter Biden?
We're talking, yeah.
Well,
What we
listen.
were talking about earlier. Because
I'm
it really is some good stuff, folks. This really is some good stuff.
I'm gonna say this right quick. The funniest thing, the best thing I've heard out of everything was when Hunter goes to the interview and some guy goes, "Hey, buddy, is the crack you're smoking any good?" That was it. That was the best thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, give that reporter some credit. I mean, Peter Ducey is a beast. I get him. He loves answering those bad questions, but man, that guy was amazing. Whoever that was that screamed from the back of the line that was like, "Is the crack you're smoking good?" Like, politically, man, that was a monster shot right there. The guy goes to the congressional hearing today and doesn't answer a question, and his lawyer's like, "We're going to answer questions. Just let me give a statement first." And the guy goes, "Was the crack you're smoking any good?" Like, that was amazing. So, I think all being said, I mean, we got a lot going on. It's a crazy time in the political system. I think we got a ton of headaches. We got a lot of problems. The corruption in the government is insane. I mean, the best stock trader in the world is Nancy Pelosi.
wonder why.
I have a feeling I can pick the best stocks. If you give me 100 stocks, I can pick 50 winners. That doesn't happen. I've done day trading, I've done stock trading, I've done futures trading. I've looked at 7-year cycles. I've read every book. I can follow Warren Buffett, who is a brilliant. I can follow BlackRock. I can follow all these guys that are amazing. They can't compete with Nancy Pelosi. Like, she's got it going on. That's because when she looks at a document, oh, we're going to sue this company is doing this bad, and I'm going to take the opposite company. Or this company is going to get a government contract, I'm going to take that company. That's just something that, hey, me and you don't get. Let's be serious.
We really don't.
We ain't connected. We ain't connected like that. If I was connected like that, I'd probably do it. I'd probably do it. Yeah. I mean, if there's no rules against it, if I'm not going to jail, I'll do it. Now, if I was Martha Stewart and there was a penalty for doing it, I wouldn't do it. But guess what? As a congressman, as a senator, as a politician, there's nothing wrong with it. It's legal for them to do it, but illegal for Martha Stewart to do it. Why? Because they make the rules. I mean, the most perfect comment I've ever heard in my life. Donald Trump, did you take advantage of this situation? Of course I did. It's the rules. I did it. Ask Hillary Clinton.
Taxes, aren't you?
Yeah, Hillary Clinton did it. All of her donors did it. Why wouldn't I do it? It's a legal thing for me to do. Is it right? No, it's not right. But if you're going to give me the ability to do it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
That's insane. That's just totally insane that we live in a society where that's not only legal, it's encouraged if you are connected. You've got to be connected. If you're not connected, too bad.
and honestly, that's an actual great topic to be on. Donald Trump, a lot of the people that got on to him because he didn't claim an income tax and all this. You realize that if you are one of those people out there that puts your money into investment properties, if you have a good CPA and you're running a cost segregation analysis on the properties that you buy, you can be in that same situation where you're not paying any income tax, people. I mean,
that is true.
There is no quicker way to $1 million in your pocket than real estate. Real estate is the quickest way to make $1 million, period, hands down, no contest. That's it. Real estate is the quickest way to $1 million.
Not even close.
You are going out and you are buying a property that you are either flipping because you put some money into it, you did whatever the case may be. You get a great CPA that does a cost segregation analysis on that property, my friend. There's a lot of cases where that will null out your tax liability for a lot of things. Get with a good CPA. If you don't have a good CPA, contact me. Contact me through this. I'll give my number at the end of this podcast where you can get a hold of me. Cost analysis, cost segregation analysis. There's a little bit of bourbon in that. Cost segregation analysis is the first year that you have that new investment property. Now, there's things that there's different stipulations that have to go with that property that you have to follow. I'll be glad to tell you all about it. But if you are somebody that's picking up those properties, absolutely need to do this because that's what Donald Trump is doing. Yep. That is the reason why he's not really paying much of anything on income taxes. And he is following the rules. He is going with what the law allows him to do. And yeah, you can be pissed off at him and you could say, well, he's this, that, and the other, but you know what? He's doing exactly what he's allowed to do.
No, I
So
mean, that's true. That's totally 100% correct. And, you know, take advantage of what you can. I mean, if you tell me that if you walk into a store and they say, hey, you're our 100th customer today, we're going to give you 10% off. And you say, you know what, I'm going to give it to the next guy. Yeah, you're probably lying. I mean, but you're taking advantage of the situation. That's all they're doing. I mean, they have enough money where they can pay somebody to take advantage of a situation. There's a crazy rule. And I mean, you've got to, how much does your truck weigh? Do you know off the top of your hand?
it's a 1-ton truck.
It's over 6,000 pounds, right? You can take that as a 100% tax write-off. I have an H2, 100% tax write-off. Well, I had 100% tax write-off on that truck because it's over 6,000 pounds. And I mean, guess what? Why are G-Wagons so popular? It's not because they're cool looking. I mean, it's a freaking Matchbox looking like it's driving down the road.
Stupid. You know
It's
what I
ugly.
equate that to? I equate that to all these women that are buying the damn Stanley Cups from Target. That's what I equate.
Wait. What's the difference between the G-Wagon and what was that Ford truck that they made or Ford SUV that they made that was like squared? Do you remember that? It was the Cube. What's the difference? What's the difference?
The Cube's ugly as shit.
So the G-Wagon, you can write off the G-Wagon. You can not write off the Cube.
Yeah.
So that's the kicker. I mean, people buy G-Wagons because they can write them off because they're over 6,000 pounds. It's just an advantage. It's a tax write-off. You can spend 100 grand, write it off, and you don't have to pay taxes on it. So the government doesn't get that. It's like, let's say you make $100,000 a year. The government's going to take 38%. So they're going to take 38 grand. But if you tell me, listen, you can spend $10,000 over the next 6 years and you get all that 38,000 back, you're going to do it unless you're stupid. But that's all the G-Wagon is. I mean, there's loopholes, and Donald Trump's taking advantage of the loopholes. Hillary Clinton took advantage of the loopholes. Every politician up there takes
Everybody does. Every politician takes advantage.
If you can do it, you're going to do it. That's all there is to it.
I do want to say, so we're on the subject of taxes and the season that we're in. I tell you what, this is the thing. If you are a 1099 employee, meaning you basically run your own stuff, everything is you. If you make, for round number purposes, if you make $100,000 and you're planning on buying a house this year, if you write off $60,000 worth of stuff so that you don't have to pay those taxes, when the time comes for you to get approved for that house, you only made 40 grand this year, my friend.
That's
you
right.
Need to
That's all there is to it.
Attention to what you are writing off. If you are planning on buying a house, you are only going to get credit for what you didn't write off. So if you make 100 grand, if you make 200 grand, pay attention to what you're writing off, because you will not get credit for the entire amount that you make. Regarding, you could be bank, you could have absolutely no bills whatsoever, and 160 grand of that 200,000 is going in your pocket. But if you wrote it off, that's what you're going to get approved for when you go to buy that house, and you're going to be disappointed. So pay attention to what you're writing off.
100%. That's why you should be listening to us. That's why you should follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, all of those things. We're going to give you information that is not only beneficial to you locally, like do not drive on 24 during any time. We're also going to tell you things that, hey, if you're not paying attention, you should probably be paying attention to this. So, yeah, follow us. And if you're seeing this video, comment, like, share, tell us we're crazy.
Those of y'all that are my friends, please, we got to get this thing
rolling. You have friends?
Like, follow, share. That's what you got to do.
How much do you pay your friends?
How much did I pay you?
Did I say damn, I didn't know it was your friend, man. I must be on the cheap.
Well, I only got like 2 friends, and you're one of them. See?
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, buddy, let's wrap this up for tonight. We've been on it for a while.
Yes.
Man, I look forward to the next one where we're going to be in person, provided you can bring your computer up to the 2000s. And
I think we might have to switch to my Mac, but we'll do it. We got it.
All right, whatever you say, buddy.
All right. Hey, you know what? This Eagle Rare has been amazing.
Yes, sir.
Probably made this whole recording a hell of a lot more entertaining than it should have been. But here's to you, my friend. Cheers. And
Take care, sir.
Go Titans.
Yes, sir.
Go Vols. Go Prez.
Hey.
We talked about the Prez.
Prez, Titans, Vols, everything Music City. Guys, thank you for joining us.
All things Middle Tennessee. Come back and see us next week. For sure.
Yes, y'all have a great night.
Have a good one.